Hey, you guys. Happy Monday. How are you doing? All right. Y'all know how I do. Chill. I'm trying to set my logistics up. Hey, Rosalind. Welcome in, baby. Happy Monday. Hey, Jasmine. Welcome in. I am. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna go live today, y'all. But I'm like, you know what, girl? Why you not gonna go live, girl? I got all these notes prepared for several different lives and videos that I have that I'm working on or whatever. So why not, right? Free! Hey, my sister. How are you? Happy Monday. Hey, Spicy Brown. Humble Me. Hi. What's good? Hey, Tangela. How are you? Hey, now. I'm so happy to see y'all. All right, let me pin my coffee link, y'all, because this page is not monetized yet. So the only way that you are able to support me right now is via my coffee link. But we should be monetized here pretty shortly, which is why we is over here. Um, Obviously, there is no obligation to buy me a coffee, but your girl definitely does love coffee. Y'all know that. And if you're enjoying the show, then hook a sister up. Let me see. Hey, Spicy Brown. I think I spoke to you already. My bad. Sorry. Okay, I don't think I missed anybody. So, welcome in, you guys. I have a topic. I actually said I was going to um, talk about this a little while ago, and I think I finally have the opportunity to talk about it. I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about some other stuff and get back into the group of things. So, and I think it's a topic that is super relatable to a lot of us. And that topic is toxic family dynamics. That's what we're talking about today. Humble Me Hype, girl, you be having me hollering. Y'all, Humble Me, I love her, okay? I love Humble Me Hype, yo. She is a vibe. She just be big chilling, yo. Like nothing bothers her, and I love it. Um, so anyway, so I want to get right into the topic because I'm not gonna be on here very long. Y'all know me, short and sweet to the point, or what have you. So I want to talk about toxic family dynamics because I feel like it is definitely something that is relatable to a lot of us, especially in the Black community, unfortunately. And I think there are a lot of factors that play into that. Obviously, for the more obvious reasons. Hold on, y'all. Let me get my charger. One second, y'all. Okay, I'm back. Thank you so much for being so patient. Hey, Hot Wings lover. She said, I'm folding laundry just in time, period. You know what? This is a good conversation to be folding laundry. No shade. So, perfect. So, anyway, we're going to be talking about toxic family dynamics today. And so I feel like this is a topic that we can all relate to in some sense of the word, one way or the other, right? We all have at least one toxic family member in our family. And so I want to speak on this because sometimes we get stuck between a rock and a hard place because, a lot of us are taught like family over everything, loyal to family to a T, no matter what, blah, 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 whatever, right? It's kind of ingrained into us as a child and on up. And that's all fine and dandy. But sometimes you can run into issues with that because you could family unfortunately could put you in some really messed up situations, right? And so I want to talk about this because although you love your family, you're loyal to your family and all of those things as you should be, you also have to love and be loyal to yourself as well. Queen B, how you doing, baby? Happy Monday, period. Homie Hype says, love you too, baby. To life be too lit. I don't have time for the drama and fake kicking. No, for real, honey. For real, for real. So let's talk about it, y'all. So when I talk about family, toxic family dynamics, I am referring to family members, especially parents. Hi, Amber. What's good, baby? Happy Monday. So family members, especially parents, Because no shade, y'all, our parents will give us a run for the money. And I don't even think they do it on purpose. It's just, it's just a parent thing or whatever. But they can sometimes use like their roles or their titles to create like a sense of obligation as it pertains to like your life, right? And it can feel like because they're your mom or because they're your dad or your grandma or whoever in your family, like they expect certain things from you that may not always align with like your own needs and desires and boundaries, right? Hi, Miss Bevins. Welcome in, baby. Happy Monday. And so when you're raised in a certain family structure, right, like your mom or dad might assume that their role means that they can make certain decisions for you, regardless of what age you are, regardless of whether you're married, regardless of what you got going on in your real life, single, whatever. Like, it's so funny. I'm laughing because, y'all know I love my grandma to death. She's in New York. I go see her every year, and I'm going to see her in a few months. I can't wait. But anyway, I be laughing because my grandma is up in her 80s and my aunt lives like in the same building as her, and so she is like always checking her for like where she at, who she's seeing. Oh, I saw you walking outside with this person or that, and it's so funny because they get into it. And I'd be so tickled because they're both up in age, and it's just funny watching two older people get into it or whatever. But my aunt kind of be like, mind your business. But then my grandma's like, no, like, you're my daughter. Like, I can mind your business, right? Hey, JV, welcome in. Hey, Latoya. How are you guys? Happy Monday. And so that's why I was laughing when I said this, because it made me think about that. Like, sometimes your parents feel like they don't care what you got going on, like they still have say so and and pull on what you're gonna do in your life, right? Whether that's as it pertains to your career, your relationships, or even just like how you live your life. Like you don't need to be doing this, you don't need to be going there, all of that. And so I think it comes from a place of love and concern, because a lot of parents, for instance, they have like this envision, like a vision for you in your life, and they think that they know what's best for you at all times. And in some cases, they do. But in a lot of cases, they may not know or understand or whatever. So, an example I would love to use is like you might feel like you're expected to follow certain paths, right? Whether it's in your career, relationships, or even just how you live your life or what have you, based on the way you were raised, right? A lot of us were raised boots or books, right? Like you got to go in the military or you got to go to college. Like there's no in between. I can remember going into high school and my mom told me, because you have to register for classes and all that, and she told me I had to do ROTC or band. And I was like, I don't want to do either of those, but I definitely was not about to be no band kid. So, surprise, Ashley Chats was in ROTC all 4 years. And it actually ended up being a good experience, but I think I just would have enjoyed it more, I think, if I would have had the option. But my mom wasn't having it. And something good came out of it. At the end of my senior year, I was actually offered a full ride scholarship to West Point in New York. And I was gonna take it, y'all, but I was just so scared because at the time that I graduated, there were a lot of reports of sexual assault on women at that particular location, and I was terrified. But it was a sweet deal, y'all. It was full ride. I would have been there for 4 years, and I would have been commissioned as an officer. So I accepted it, and then my husband proposed, and I was like, just kidding, I'm not going. And I know hindsight looking back, like sometimes I regret it. I'm like, man, I wonder what my life would have looked like if I had have accepted it. But I was scared, y'all. I was like, nah, like, first of all, New York ain't nothing nice. Okay, I'm from New York, and to know that there's freaking sexual assaults happening up there, like, I just wasn't with it, y'all. If I didn't have to be, but at the same time, I did want to get out and do something with my life as soon as possible. Like I had all plans on leaving and moving out, whether I was going to college or whatever I had to do just to get out and be on my own or what have you. So when my husband proposed, he was already in basic training, and so it was just a sweet deal. I'm like, oh, he already in there, so I'm cool. JB says I'm driving love, but I'm listening. Period. Um. So anyway, let's see. So it's hard to, I would say, balance respect, for their experience and wisdom when, like, with their, like, with your desire, to make your own choices in your life that aligns with what they feel like it should be. And so for those of you that don't know, I am a daddy's girl, y'all. I love my dad is probably my best friend. No shade. Like we get along so great. He's a Gemini, by the way. I love Geminis. They're so amazing. But anyway, but we get along so great because he's always respected boundaries, right? And so it's made us very close. And my husband, my not my husband, my dad is a very private person, and I think that kind of plays into why he is the way that he is, with me and my sisters, where he lets us do us, like whatever, do your own life, and he doesn't offer any unsolicited advice. However, he will hand you your soul if you ask him for advice in a situation pertaining to your life. He's gonna tell you the truth, and if you don't like it, then it's too bad because he'll tell you, "Don't ask me unless you want the truth." And I think that's just the New York side of him, honestly. But on the flip side, he minds his business, and I love that because we respect each other's boundaries. Like I don't get into his personal life and his choices, and he doesn't get into mine. And I think because of that, having those healthy boundaries regardless to what me or him have going on in our lives at any point, like we don't intertwine the two. Like we focus on the relationship that we have, right? When I go to New York to see my grandma, that's his mom. So we always meet up in New York, and so we get to spend time with her, and then we get to spend time together, like as father daughter. Like I say, he's like my best friend, y'all. No shade. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there because I feel like because the reason why a lot of toxic family dynamics happen is because there is a lack of respect for boundaries, right? People don't respect your boundaries. Like people feel like, oh, I'm your grandma, oh, I'm your aunt, or oh, I'm your whatever, that they can come in and make choices for you. And some of them will withdraw support, withdraw love, connection, communication, and things of that sort if you do not fall in line with what they want you to do, right? And I just think that that's foul and crazy. Look, JB, like, yes, 100%. Yes, because it's crazy, right? And so that's why I wanted to do this live topic because what I need for us to understand is that although that may happen, right, you choose to live your life or make a decision that your loved one is not okay with, whether that's your parent, your grandparent, your favorite aunt, your favorite uncle, whatever, you still have to be able to understand that unless they are trying to protect you from some sort of harm or danger or something of the sort, that it is perfectly okay for you to establish a boundary and stick to that and make them respect it. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't have to that doesn't have to come off disrespectful or horrible. It doesn't have to end in like a big blow up and things of that nature. I know some family members will take it there. Y'all know how it goes. Some of them will definitely give you grief and problems, if you don't want to do whatever it is that they're suggesting but slash demanding you to do when it comes to your life. But you have to understand that it is your life, and a lot of the people in our families that do that, they're much older, right? So they've already made their choices, and they're living their lives and whatever that looks like for them. And so you have to get to a point where you make family members respect your boundaries, or whatever. Thank you, JB. So that you're able to live your life. And there should be absolutely no problem with that because, family over everything, loyalty, love, all of that. If you love me and we're loyal to one another, then you should be able to respect that boundary, right? So another angle is how parents, even with the best intentions, might see like their own decisions and sacrifices as a reason for you to take certain responsibilities, right? Like caregiving or emotional support because they've done so much for you, right? Um, I have personal experiences with this, and I'm not gonna lie, I used to struggle with it a lot, because in a lot of cases, y'all, there's people who come from very, I wouldn't say bad backgrounds, but maybe traumatic backgrounds, or maybe like how people say they've come from nothing, right? They came from the bottom or whatever, right? And that's perfectly fine. But then you'll have family members or even parents in some cases that feel like if you do make it, like you owe me everything, right? Like anything I ask you for, you should automatically give it to me because I took care of you. I put a roof over your head. I, put food on the table. Like there are literally people who think like that, like you owe them or you're forever indebted to them because they're your parent or because they're your grandma or because they raised you or whatever their excuse is, right? And again, it puts us in a position where we're like, wait, because then you start questioning yourself because you're like, am I bugging? Like, am I tripping to feel like I don't owe you this? Like, there's nothing wrong with, hey, if I have it, then of course I'm gonna look out, but I should not be obligated to do, XYZ for you because you chose to lay down and have a child, or you chose to bring me into this world, or you chose to volunteer, or whatever the situation was that caused you to raise me does not obligate me to forever take care of you in life, right? And what I think a lot of people do not realize, right, that have these type of family dynamics or they treat family members this way, is that people, and let's take the family piece out of it, right? Like, this is how humans are set up, right? When you do not place demands on people, right? When you don't try to strong arm people to do certain things, behave certain ways, give you certain things, or what have you, most times you will get more out of people, right? Because we're adults, right? It's like you put your pants on in the morning the same way I put my pants on in the morning. So don't try to demand or force me or try to justify why something that I have worked hard for, right? So if I came from the bottom, I came from the bottom, right? Yeah, you might have gave me a place to stay, food on my on my clothes, Lord, food on my table, clothes on my back, whatever speech you like to give me, right? And I'm forever grateful for that. And I'm sure most people will remember. Now, I know it's some ungrateful people out here, but typically people remember the people who held them down and went out and did the most for them, right? Like, I can remember school teachers that I will never forget in my life, based on how they impacted my life as a child going to school, right? So typically, people do not forget people who are profound in their life or have done amazing things or sacrificed or what have you. But that does not automatically obligate them to forever be indebted to you, for whatever reason. And I think that that is where a lot of toxic family dynamics come into play. And I also feel, now, this is not no, this is just how I see it, y'all. This is my perspective. I also feel like it comes from certain generations, right? Because a lot of this toxicity, right? Like, you owe me this, or you should always do this for me, or you should do, give me this or pay this for me, or whatever the demand is. It's usually something unreasonable. Like, let me live with you for free. Like, give me X amount of dollars every time I call you. Like, it'd be ridiculous, y'all. But typically it comes from the older generation, like the people who, like, did not have access to some of the resources and things that we had, right? And unfortunately, that is not our fault, right? So again, going back to what I was saying, I think you will get more out of people when you are not demanding or requiring that they do certain things for you, because then it looks a whole different way, right? So I want to throw that anyway. Anyway, unfortunately, it's easy for, that to turn into an unspoken debt, like I was saying. And so you feel you need to repay regardless to whether you're in the right headspace to do so or not. And I feel like that's where you get into a place where now it's playing on your mental health, it's playing on your conscience. You start questioning some of your beliefs, your morals, like, oh, am I a bad person because I will not do these type of things for this person that they are demanding, or am I a bad person because I won't allow this person to impose on my life and rearrange my life to fit around whatever they have going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, some people will really have very unreasonable demands and then place, well, I'm your sister, or oh, I'm your aunt, or I'm your dad, or I'm your mom. And then we get all caught up in titles, right? And if you've been following me for any length of time, I talk about stuff like this all the time, about how we get so wrapped up in people's titles, and not just with family, even like in the workplace or just in general, right? We're very status driven people, unfortunately. I think it's just human nature, right? Hi, Leela. If I don't see you in here, y'all, because I'm on this other page, I think there was a lot of blocking that happened during the sector. So I truly apologize, you guys, if you're speaking and I'm not acknowledging you. I most likely do not see you, because if I see you in the chat, I speak. But if I see other people speaking to you, I will make sure that I do speak to you. But please know I don't have any of you blocked. My block list does not have any of my current supporters. Only people that are, you know doing all that weird stuff or whatever. So I'm still trying to get it all figured out, y'all. I've been watching different YouTube videos trying to figure out how to see you guys again. I've checked all of my Google accounts. None of you guys are on there. So I really feel like it might be a glitch with YouTube, and I'm trying to figure out how to get that all set up. Hey, Miss Dee Dee, welcome in, baby. Miss Dee Dee, I knew what the more. Please don't mention her in my chat. Anything pertaining to her, it has become a legal situation, you guys, and I cannot speak on it because I'm not trying to ruin what I got going on in the works. Okay, so please don't mention her in here. I'm gonna delete this comment. I'm not gonna remove you, but I am gonna remove the comment. Anyway, um, so my next point is we have to navigate, the balance, right? We got to recognize, well, I feel like they kind of navigate, like, how do I want to say this, right? We have to navigate the balance, right? We have to recognize their authority and love while also asserting our own needs and boundaries. And it can be like a fine line. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, because like I said, we throw in the morality piece. We throw in, oh, am I supposed to do this automatically because this is my mom or because this is my sister or because this is whatever. And I can relate to this topic so much because I used to be very much convicted about stuff like that. Hi, Miss Vet. Welcome in, baby. Um, I used to feel convicted, you guys, because again, I would get wrapped up in titles, and I felt like if this is someone who is blood related to me, whatever they're asking for, if I have it, I should extend it. And it also played into, and I've shared this several times before, I dealt with a lot of guilt from my family because I left at 18. I moved out my first when I left my mom's house, you guys, I was 18 years old and we moved to Alaska. So Alaska is very, very far. And I was in Alaska like 3.5 years. And we've been moving ever since, like all over the place. We have never lived where my mom or my dad reside since we've been in the military, right? So I dealt with a lot of, you know, hustle and bustle when it comes to family because you miss a lot of family events sometimes, not even intentionally. There's a lot of things that happen when I'm a military spouse, so we move a lot, and so there's a lot of things or special events that happen that you don't get an invite to because they will automatically assume you're not going to come. Hi, Butterfly, welcome in, baby. Happy Monday. Hi, Bullseye, welcome in, or whatever. So I used to struggle with that, you guys, because there were a lot of assumptions there, like that I didn't want to be a part of certain events or whatever. And so then I feel like it kind of created some level of blind resentment with certain family members because they assumed, oh, well, she just following her man around the world, like she ain't interested in the family or she thinks she better. Like people say little stuff that may or may not be true. And in my case, it was not true. Although I was moving a lot and with my husband a lot, things like that, I did desire to still be a part of a lot of events that I was not included in or what have you. So then, because people knew that there was like that little, what is it, elephant in the room, right? Like they took advantage of that. Some family members, not all, but a few, because they knew I felt guilt behind that. Hey, Jazzy Jazz, welcome in, baby. Happy Monday. They knew I felt a level of guilt there, right? And so, because there was a level of guilt there, it would make it easier for people to ask me for things because they felt like, oh, she's not going to tell me no, because then I'll throw in her face like, oh, well, you left and you abandoned us, and you know what I'm saying. And so that I let that play on my conscience for many, many years, you guys, many, many, many years, until I finally woke up and was like, you know what? No, although I did leave, that was my choice. I was an adult. I had got this was my husband legally. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm supposed to do. That's how we were raised when it comes to marriage and the Bible and our belief and all of that. You leave and you cleave to your husband. Like that's your man. Like y'all created a family. You're supposed to go with your family, right? And so when I had that moment where I was like, you know what? No, like I'm going to put my foot down. If I can help and if I am able to help, I will help. If I feel led to help, I will help or assist or whatever, but I'm not going to be guilted or made to feel obligated to do something because of a life choice that I made for me. Because I know in the life choice that I made for me was not to harm any other family members or people I love. It was just simply a choice for me. That's it. And if people don't understand that, then I had to get to a place where I understood it was not my problem. You know what I'm saying? Still love you the same. If you send me information about an event, I'm pulling up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously not to every event, but if it's a significant event like a marriage or, obviously funerals, things like that, I've gone to my family for like graduations, things that are significant. Absolutely, I'm gonna make sure that I'm there, but I'm not gonna be made to feel like a bad family member or a bad person just because I can't be I guess, manipulated into thinking like if you don't do this, then you're not loyal or you don't love us as family or you abandon us or, and things like that. And so I think a lot of us struggle with that mentally because our family members, and obviously that's your immediate family and extended family members, they will play on your emotions. They will play on, your psyche, especially if they know like how you are, right? Like I told y'all several times, I'm very much a giver at heart. And so a lot of my loved ones know that. So it's very easy for them to be like, oh, if I kick this story to Ashley a certain way, she's going to give it to me. She's going to say yes. She's going to agree, or whatever. And for a long time, I was like that. But now, yeah, no, girl, we're going to have a conversation. So yeah, so like I said, it all comes down to regardless of how it all plays out, you have to get to a point where you establish a boundary. And that's with anybody, regardless to their title, your kids, your mama, your daddy, your sisters, your favorite aunt, your granny, whoever, like you can still love them and say no, respectfully. um so going back to what I said, it's like finding that balance and like recognizing authority and love and all of that, but still asserting your own needs and boundaries. It's a fine line. And I can remember visiting my grandma one time, and my grandma loved church, y'all. It ain't no Sunday going by and she's not at church unless she's sick. And so I remember I had got dressed for church, y'all, and I had on a dress, and it was, it fit. Like I wear clothes that fit but not provocative. Like I'm a very modest woman, you guys. Like I ain't gonna be too much cleavage or none of that. Like there's no need or whatever. Like I've always been modest, even like in my teenage years. Like you're not gonna find, you know, too much of nothing like that, right? But anyway, my grandma looked at me and she was like, "You wearing that to church?" And I kind of paused because I'm thinking like, yeah, like why wouldn't I wear this to church? You know what I'm saying? But then I had to think like, okay, why is she asking me this? Because now I'm like re-looking over myself. Hi, Amelia. Welcome in, baby. Happy Monday. I'm looking over myself again, like, like, is it something wrong? Like, I'm looking in the mirror, like, wait, is something, is something inappropriate or whatever? Or whatever. And so I had to realize, like I said before, a lot of conversations or things that are had is just from two completely different perspectives. So you got to consider my grandmother's age. Like she's my dad's mom, right? So she's older. She comes from a whole different generation. Like they were raised different as far as going to church and what you can wear to church, and you got to wear a slip and a girdle and pantyhose and certain shoes, and you can't wear sandals, and y'all know how it goes. Like it just had all the, and girl, it wasn't giving that, girl. I had on me a cute little form fitting dress with some sandals or like some strappy sandals or something, so she just like, you wearing that, so but anyway, I had to laugh, and of course I respectfully told her, yeah, grandma, I'm wearing this, what I'm wearing. you know or whatever. And she didn't like it, but she respected it. Like she didn't give me a hard time or whatever. But that's why I said like there will be times where things are uncomfortable, but you gotta stand your ground. You know what I'm saying? And it don't mean that it has to be a full out brawl or, you being disrespectful to your elders or your parents or anything like that. But, you can respectfully say, yeah, I mean, I appreciate your input, but no, like this is what I'm gonna do, or whatever. So anyway, toxic family dynamics can be especially tough, to untangle because unlike other relationships, there's often like deep seated sense of obligation and guilt tied to the bond. And so When parents or family members overstep boundaries or manipulate situations or create a sense of control, it can feel like you're trapped in a loop of trying to meet their expectations, like even at the cost of your own well-being, right? Like you're uncomfortable, you done gave them your bill money, now you're stressed out, how you gonna come up with the money, you know what I'm saying? Or you having to be obligated to long phone conversations that you don't want to be on, or if you got an older family member and they want you to come sit with them, but you got stuff, like you can find yourself in some of the strangest predicaments because you're trying to satisfy or appease a family member or what have you. And so, let's talk about, some of the things to look out for. Like if you might find yourself in an uncomfortable situation or a family member may be overstepping a boundary, right? That could be impacting or affecting your well being, right? So the first one, like I just mentioned, is overstepping boundaries, right? It can show up in more subtle ways, like a loved one who ignores or dismisses your boundaries, whether it's emotional boundaries or physical boundaries, right? So, perfect example, my husband's dad, he lives in Texas where we just moved from. And he has this house rule where you don't eat anywhere but at the table. You have to eat at the table. Like I don't know if it's like a traditional family thing or his belief. I don't know, but I didn't know that. And so I can remember we had picked up food on the way to his house one day, and they was serving up, the plates and stuff, and I was sitting on the couch, and so everybody was getting a plate. So my husband was like, "You want me to just bring you like, something or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So my husband goes in there to like, sit me something aside. When he finishes, he's like, "Ashley, your food's ready." And I'm looking at him like, okay, bring me the plate. Like I'm thinking, like, why is you telling me that the food is like what? I was confused. I'm like, why would you ask me if you want me to go get you something, and then you asking me like, hey, your food ready? And he looking at me all stupid. My husband looking at me all stupid, and I'm looking at him all stupid. Like, what is happening? But then I realized, oh, everybody's at the table, right? So I'm like, okay, so I guess I can't eat in the living room as a grown person, like whatever. So I go, I'm not slow. I can see what's going on. So I go eat at the table or whatever. So when we got in the car, my husband was like, I already know, like you wasn't feeling it, whatever. And so I asked him, I'm like, is that like his rule? Like what, what? I was trying to get an understanding because I was like, what happened here? Like, because all I could think of is even when like at my house, I kind of bend the rules for guests, right? Like even if typically I don't want people eating on the couch or something like that. Like if I have a house guest, I may bend the rule. You know what I'm saying? But some people do not bend the rules because that is a boundary. It's a hard boundary. You know what I'm saying? And so of course I'm in his home or whatever, so I had to respect that, and I did because of course for obvious reasons. Like I respect him. We have a great relationship rapport, whatever. And then on top of that, that's my husband's dad. Hi Shay T, welcome in, baby. Coming out the bushes to speak to watch you commentate and preach. Period. Hey Shanta, welcome in. Shay T, we're talking about toxic family dynamics today. So anyway, I didn't create a scene or nothing because it's respect. And then even outside of that, you guys, I'm in someone else's house, right? So you got to respect people's house rules. You don't like it, just don't go. So of course it was a teaching moment for me. So anytime we would go over there, after that, I would either eat before I went there or I would eat after. You know what I'm saying? Unless obviously we were going to eat, like they had cooked or, something of the sort. But that was a boundary that I had to respect because that's how he runs his house. Like that's his house rules. You know what I'm saying? And so it threw me aback because at my house, like we ain't really we ain't. I mean, I'm like that with my kids. Like, I don't let my kids eat all over the house. They have to be at the table or at the bar or whatever. But like as an adult, I feel like you're an adult. Like whatever. Like just don't leave a mess. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And then like my house in Texas, we had stairs. Like we had a second floor. So it was a definitely hard no. Nobody could eat upstairs because I had carpet upstairs, and I'm like, yeah, no. Like you can eat down here wherever you want, but don't go upstairs. So like I said, it was his house. I had to respect the rules and the boundaries. But again, imagine if I was a toxic family member. I could have raised all type of hell, you know what I'm saying, caused an issue between my husband and his father, all because I don't want to respect his house or his rules. But then it's hypocritical because if someone comes into my house, I too have certain rules and dynamics that you got to respect it. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's a perfect example. Another thing to look out for is lack of accountability. This is very common in toxic family dynamics because like when problematic behavior happens, it's ignored and or justified, right? If a family member acts out or hurts others instead of taking responsibility, they might blame you or someone else or a circumstance, or there's always a reason why it happened, right? And this can make it hard to like voice concerns or hold anyone accountable, which leads you to internalize the issues. And that's when you got family members that have this unspoken resentment for years and years and years, like back in the day we used to do family reunions, and a lot of people don't do them anymore because a lot of families have all of this built up resentment for, oh, such and such did this to me at the cookout 10 years ago, and so now I think they like that cousin better than this cousin or they like this sister better than like it just be stuff like that because people don't want to take accountability and or have conversations or communications about unspoken things that have happened or transpired within family dynamics, right? I can vouch for this because I personally have had family members who will wrong you, and then they'll just be nice to you later, and just kind of skip over or skate over the fact that they were wrong or they did something that they should take accountability for and apologize for. And honestly, personally, it drives me up a wall. Like I hate it with a passion, y'all, because it's like I just feel like we are too old and grown to like be wrong, know we're wrong, and refuse to apologize, like out of pride. Like I'm not gonna apologize, but then I'm gonna skate over it and be like, let's just talk. Like I'm gonna call you one day and we're gonna act like nothing happened. So because this is something I have experienced with different family members in my life, I try to be very self-aware and apologize when I'm wrong, even to my kids, right? I will tell them, hey, you know what? I apologize. I had it wrong. I thought it was you, or whatever. Because I don't want to create resentment with my children or within my children where it's like, oh, mom, can be wrong and she won't apologize for it because I know how that feels with certain adults or certain family members who are a part of my family. It's like, okay, we're supposed to do this love and loyalty thing, but parts of being loved and loyal to one another, we should be able to have conversations, you know what I'm saying, where it's not going to damage the relationship and we can both equally take accountability and just admit our faults, because is it really worth it to refuse to apologize to someone you love and care about, and then they have to harbor that and internalize that for years? Like, do you really love them? Like, do you really care about them? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about someone wronged you and you wronged them back, and because that's a whole different situation. But I'm saying, like, there is a scenario where you were genuinely wrong, you know what I'm saying? And you should apologize, but you won't because of pride, or well, I don't have to, or it's not that serious, or, like, the little excuses people give. And it's like, okay, but like it's kind of selfish, right? Because you're doing it for personal pride reasons and you're causing like emotional turmoil for someone that you actually say you love and care about. Shay says, I have cousin cliques in my family and I'm not in them. Right, Shay? I think a lot of us do, girl. We all got cousin cliques, girl. Like, you got certain cousins that kick it all the time and stay in touch, and then you got other cousins like that you never see. Like they don't kick it with nobody. They don't care what nobody got going on. Like only time you see them is like at a funeral or something like that, and then they're forced to speak to you because we're at the funeral or something like that. So I definitely can relate, Shay. Um, Another thing you might see is when parents pin siblings against each other or they favor one child over another. And this can happen even with your kids, right? You can have your parents favor certain grandkids and things over others, and I ain't gonna hold you, y'all. It's not a good it's not a good feeling, y'all. Like to see that or witness it or hear about it. I've had several conversations with people who have experienced this, and it's like what? Because I'm thinking, yo, like I have multiple nieces and nephews, and it's like how can you, like, I mean, even if you have a favorite per se, right? Like, how can you make it um distinctly obvious, right? To the point where now you have children or siblings feeling a way about each other because you've been blatantly, favorable for one over the other. And so these are toxic family dynamics that happen in a lot of families, right? And it can breed resentment. It can breed competition and a sense of inadequacy, right? And this can make the family feel like a source of pressure rather than support as it pertains to you. Also, with toxic family dynamics, you have gaslighting and invalidation, right? And this is when a family member makes you question your own feelings or perception of reality. I think we all know what gaslighting is. We've heard it so much in the world. So, for example, they may dismiss your emotions, telling you you're too sensitive, or try to rewrite history to make themselves seem blameless in a situation. And this can cause a lot of confusion and self doubt, right? And this is especially true or especially the case when it involves issues of like abuse or trauma. I have seen it so many times in so many situations where parents, loved ones, family members, uncles, whoever were involved or attached or aware of the trauma, they will try to minimize the trauma that the child, who is now an adult, went through. And try to make them believe that what happened to them or the reality of their situation was not the reality. Because if they have to face the actual reality, then that means that they would have to take some accountability. You know what I'm saying? Whether they were a part of it or acting in a part of the trauma, they would have to admit that they were at least aware and that they did not advocate or protect you as a child or whatever your age was at the time of the trauma. And so this is very common in toxic family members, in toxic family dynamics, gaslighting and invalidation for your actual experiences. And it may not even be trauma related. It could be something as simple as, like I was saying, sibling rivalry. You know what I'm saying? Like you blatantly picking one sibling over the other or pinning siblings against each other or making a difference, right? Like there's families, I got family members who are all about kids with long hair, right? So it's like, oh, look at her hair. Her hair has always been long and thick and beautiful and blah, 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 right? And that's all fine and good. That's great. People love compliments or whatever. But what about the kids in the family who don't have long, luxurious hair? You know what I'm saying? What about the kids in the family who may have a different grade of hair or a texture of hair, right? So with you singing praises and being overly, dramatic about one over the other, again, it plays a part into toxic family dynamics. And then people grow up and they have this resentment, and now this cousin hates this cousin because this auntie always said that this cousin, was cute, and this cousin had beautiful hair, and this cousin this and this cousin that. And you know what I'm saying? You see how that creates just a domino effect over time? You know what I'm saying? Again, toxic family dynamics, right? You will also see things like, and this is the last one I'm going to do because I don't want to make this live too long. Conditional love, right? Sometimes love in toxic families feels earned based on behavior, rather than like unconditional love, I should say, right? So I'll love you if you do this, or I'll support you if you live up to my expectations, right? Can you make it can make you feel like you're only worthy of love or care when you meet certain conditions, right? Examples, kind of going back to what I was talking about before, like people making a difference. There are some people, parents, and I see it even like on social media. They'll make a big deal out of children who have, big educational accomplishments or, for bragging rights. Like, oh, my son, he's going to be a lawyer. He's going to law school. He's going, oh, my daughter's going to be a doctor. Oh, she's going to dental school, and things like that. And then you got more than one kid, right? So what about the kids who, are not going that route? Amber says, "Yep, that's true." Right. And so it makes the children or the other family members, cousins, whatever, feel like they don't measure up because they're not getting those same praises sung upon them or whatever they have going on, right? And the crazy part is, and I've said this time and time again, like your accomplishments are great, right? If you've accomplished things, you're at certain levels of success in your life, you're getting degrees, you're whatever, like you bought your first house, you bought your first car, whatever your successes are, that is absolutely amazing, right? But it takes nothing away, absolutely nothing away from those who did not go that route, right? Sometimes it takes other people longer. It takes other people longer to obtain certain levels of success. Sometimes success looks different for others, right? You might be banging in your career field with all these accolades, right? Degrees, specialties, all of that behind your name, all those initials, all that. But I might just be regular plain Jane over here that's killing it in real life with a trade or a skill or my own business as an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? But you have some people who feel like you don't measure up in society. And a lot of this stems from toxic family dynamics and the way you're looked at by your own loved ones sometimes, or the way they perceive you based on, oh, well, that's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times have like you come around and people like, are you working? Where you work at now? What you doing now? Like, because it's like they trying to check on you to see, like, are you doing better? Like, are you meeting my expectations now, or are you still like are you still a bum, you know low key based on what I expect, right? Um, Shanta says, right, I got along with everybody in my family on both sides, but on my dad's side, I always have been treated good because they love my dad, and other family members didn't get some things because of their parent. Right, Shanta. Yep. And like I said, and I mean, you can't control it, right? Like if you have toxic family members that create division or, sing praises of one and not the other and things like you don't have any control over that. But I just want to break down the dynamic of these are reasons why there are toxic family dynamics and like the way that certain families become toxic over time because the seed is planted early and it just happens over and over again, right? And just like with good things in life, bad things work the same way, right? The more you feed it, the more you plant into it, the more it grows and it sprouts into whatever it is that you're planting, right? So if you're planting seeds of division, if you're planting, oh, this one's better than that one because of their accomplishments, or you're making loved ones feel like whatever they have going on in life and whatever level they are on in life doesn't matter because it's not on this level over here or what you have envisioned in life. And this is especially true with people who have been successful in life, right? Baby, don't let them be some type of retired something. Oh, baby, they think they made it. People think they made it, baby. Like it's like, hold on now. Like there are several people who can retire at a very young age in multiple careers, right? That's the beauty of retirement because most companies or jobs only require you to commit to 20 years. So let's be real here. If we started working at the age of 20, we could probably retire two or three times depending on how we play our cards, right? But at the same time, it's like there are those of us who that may not be our career path, right? There may not be our passion, they may not be our journey, and that's okay because as long as we all get to the finish line, as long as we all get to the finish line, baby, why does it matter what route they took? You know what I'm saying? Do what works for you. If whatever you got going on in your real life is working for you, baby, listen, rock that shit like to the top, baby, ride it to the top. You ain't got to be the executive branch owner of the nearest bank. You don't got to be in DC at the presidential suite or none of that just to feel like you count in life or that you have some sense of importance. You know what I'm saying? But society will make you feel like that, and then you'll have family members who will also play into that and create more toxic family dynamics over time. Glad you're feeling better, Amber. Yes, Amber, I'm glad you're feeling better too, girl. I heard you was sick. Humble Me Hype says, I love how your lives are so informative. You definitely touching on something I can relate to. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Humble Me Hype. I try. I really do. I do. Um, so yeah, so like what makes it all more complicated is that the lines between love, obligation, and toxicity can blur, especially when the people involved are those you've grown up with or you have a long history with, your family members and things like that. And so it can leave you feeling incredibly conflicted, right? As if you're betraying your family by trying to prioritize your own mental health and emotional needs or your own personal needs. Like, we all got stuff going on, right? Like, especially if we got children. Like, and if you got more than one child, listen, like it'd be something. I'll be getting emails, phone calls, like all type of text messages, dings on the phone, stuff on the like it's just always something going on, and still trying to maintain your life. I'm also married, so the marriage part, like you playing mom, wife, you got to still take care of yourself. Like, people be having a whole lot going on, right? And so sometimes you just simply can't. And it doesn't mean that you don't love your family members. It doesn't mean that you're being toxic towards them. It's just that sometimes you have to prioritize yourself, right? Because you cannot be no good to nobody else if you are no good to yourself, right? If you're depleted and you don't have, whatever the resources is that you need, your mental health is shot, you depressed, and you anxious, you working 12 and 20 hours a day trying to catch up because you keep shelling out money to family members because they guilting you and making you feel like, well, you the successful one and I still ain't got shit. So if you love me and you should look out. No, that's not necessarily the case, baby, because we got the same 24 hours in a day. So respectfully, girl, go get it how you get it. Like, come on now. Like, I can help when I can, but there are going to be times when I can't, and people got to respect that. Like, we have to survive, and it doesn't take any love or loyalty away from any family member that you have in your family because you put your needs first, right? So it's often painful because, these people that we love, they help shaped our life. They, raised us, whatever. So breaking away or asserting boundaries can feel like you're rejecting parts of your past, or you're rejecting, very crucial parts, to who you are and your being, right? And so I think the takeaway here, is that sometimes you have to understand that the toxic behavior stems from their own issues, whether that's a family member, someone you work with or just encounter in real life. When it comes to toxic people, like, they have their own issues, right? And so that can help you detach emotionally, right? Recognizing that your actions are more about them than it is about you, right? You can reduce your emotional investment in their behavior when you understand this, right? And again, it doesn't take anything from the relationship or the connection. You still love your family. You know you love your family and you got your family back when it really means the most. But that does not mean that you are obligated. And not just family, y'all. This goes outside of that because I swear, like, the world is set up weird. Like, even like these platforms, like, it's so many creative ways for people to beg and demand things from you. Like, you have to understand that you are not obligated, baby, to give away things that you work hard for. Okay, this is your life. You've created your life the way you want it to be for you, right? And so rest in that, right? Enjoy your life to the fullest without feeling obligated to people, whether they're your loved ones, friends, co-workers, people you love and support. Like, there's so many ways to support people, right? It don't always have to involve your resources, right? It could be, I mean, if you're giving people your time, that's support. If you're giving people, your ear to listen to, that's support. Like, there's so many ways people can support. It's nothing for me to shoot somebody a text that I care about, like, hey girl, I'm just checking on you. Are you good? Like, I haven't heard from you. I just want to make sure you're okay. That's support, you guys. You know what I'm saying? So don't let your family members, loved ones, social media, just life in general obligates you into circumstances where you have to give up resources that you have worked hard for, like the life you have created for yourself. It was created for you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Give when you feel you need to, when you feel led to, support the way that you are able to support at whatever point you are at in life or what have you. And just rest in that, baby. Just rest in that. So that's all I have for y'all today. I didn't want to make this live super long. Like I said, I wasn't even going to go live. I was like, you know what, let me just go live because I've had this topic for quite a while. And so I just wanted to go ahead and cover it with you guys, or what have you. But I do appreciate you guys for coming through and kicking it with me for the time being. I hope all of you guys stay positive and encouraged and keep moving and doing your big one. Shout out to Amber. Humble Me Hype, any other content creator that came through, even if you are in the bushes, shout out to y'all for just doing your big one, moving forward with your platform. All things positive. It's been great. I was in Queen Fee's live. I think it was yesterday. Yep, yesterday, and she was like playing a sermon. I slid through on open book in her bushes. Again, another sermon. Like positivity is what we need the most right now, y'all, in life in general. And so shout out to y'all for, just taking that seriously and sticking to it. Like it's not the easiest thing to do, but there's so many things that we can do, y'all, as content creators, to move forward positively. I am shifting some of my content to also incorporate not just these type of talks as it pertains to like psychology and mental health talks, things like that, but to also incorporate ways that you can improve or level up your platform. So y'all keep an eye out. Hey, Special K, I can't see you, baby, but I see someone speaking to you. But like I was saying, like there's a lot. I'm going to incorporate some, just some different ideas and things that I'm learning and discovering. I'm not an expert, you guys. I have been learning a lot of things as well. YouTube is a very big platform and it is ever changing and growing. And so there is so much information that is always coming out and being released. A lot of us don't pay attention to our emails and things like that. They also keep us very much up to date about policies and, just ways that we can upgrade and, improve our platforms overall. So I am going to definitely be sharing some content that I am discovering as I'm also improving my platform. Like every day, you guys, like this is not my priority job, but it's my priority job, if that makes sense, right? Like I take time out of my day every day to go through my content and see what I can tweak and how I can fix, my descriptions and just keep your page up to date and things like that. So I am going to be doing some content on that just to continue to encourage my fellow content creators and any other aspiring content creators. I know a few of you are starting a page here pretty soon. Some of you have already started one. And so, you're kind of just like, okay, I'm stepping out. I just don't know which way to go. So I'm hoping to kind of help with that, give you guys just a little bit of insight and info on just different things I've done and tried that have worked for me over time. And so you guys look forward to that. And then obviously on the lives, we will be doing our psychology talks and our mental health checks and, just self love and just relatable real life topics is what the live streams will be about. But I definitely plan on continuing to, produce good, solid content that y'all can use, honey, because baby, life is too short. Okay. Respectfully. So. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming through. If you liked the video, if you sent me a coffee on my coffee link at the top, I appreciate you. If you engaged in my chat, if you shared my live, whatever you did to support my channel today, thank you so much for giving me your time. It was an investment and I do appreciate it. And it was also support, and I'm appreciative of that. Check out a couple of your YouTube shorts. Yes, Shay T. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, baby. I could use the watch hours, whatever way I can get them. I'm also probably going to be sharing a couple of my old videos here and there. Because, like I said, I'm trying to get my page back into the algorithm over here because I just kind of abandoned it the last couple months. And so I'm just picking it up and dusting it off and keeping moving so that I can get this mug right back in the flow and swing of things in March. So, thank you guys for coming through once again, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your Monday. I will talk to you guys on my next live.